Hello everyone, welcome to today's Vision 6 Power Session Unsubscribe 101. My name's Andy, the product trainer here in Brisbane. I'll be taking you through today's session. So first off, we'll start with a couple of different frequently asked questions that we get around unsubscribes, and then we'll show you some things in product as well relating to these. So the first one being, what happens when a contact actually unsubscribes from an email? Well, essentially, they'll only be unsubscribed from the list that that email was sent to. If we have a look at our lists here in Vision 6, I'll just go to lists and forms. Let's just say that we've got a contact, Bob Smith, who is on all of these lists. Now we send them a recipe club email to say, hey, here are the latest recipes. And Bob decides at the bottom of that email to click the unsubscribe button. Bob will then be marked as unsubscribed from this list only, and he will not get any emails sent to this list from that point forward. However, if he is still on any of the other lists, which in the example he was, he will still get emails sent to any of those other lists because he's only unsubscribed from this one list here. Now, also at that time when Bob unsubscribes or any contact unsubscribes, they'll also automatically get added to a master unsubscribe list. And we'll show you that in a moment, what that means. And also, Bob will be not included in any future imports. So if Bob happens to be in another spreadsheet and you're uploading that spreadsheet into Vision 6 for some other purpose, maybe you're making a new events list and Bob happens to be on there as well, he won't be imported into the system at all because he's unsubscribed from somewhere, sometime in the past. Now you can override that setting, which is good because you might say, well, we need Bob to be on our alerts list because, these are important emergency alerts about flooding or, emergency cyclone alerts and all those kinds of things. So you might need to bring him back in and other contacts back in. So there is a way to override that setting, but by default, when they get added to that master unsubscribe list, they then won't be included in future contact imports. As I said, you can override that setting. And how to override that setting? When you go and import contacts, so all I've done is gone to the contact screen, pressed import, chosen a spreadsheet file, and this is we're up to the screen now where we're just analyzing all the columns in our spreadsheet about to do the import. But here on the settings area, this is where you can change the behavior of whether or not you want to bring in people that have previously unsubscribed from elsewhere in the platform. So this is where you can adjust that setting. And we do have a detailed how-to article on unsubscribes and things, which I'll link at the end of the session today, and will be in the recording and the email as well, to explain sort of what all these three different options mean. But essentially, by tweaking those options there, it means you can import a contact that has previously unsubscribed from elsewhere in case you do need to change that default behavior. So what is that master unsubscribe list I talked about? Well, it's essentially a safety net. So what it will do is anyone that that does unsubscribe from an email, they will get added to this master unsubscribe list. And that's kind of the list that sits in the background and stops them from being imported again. And even if you delete all of your lists in the system, every single one of them, that master unsubscribers list will always be there in the background as your safety net. And if you do, decide to clean out the system and start again from scratch, you still won't bring in people that have previously unsubscribed. So in other words, you won't upset them by emailing them again accidentally because they'll always be on that safety net, which is a good thing. You want that to sit there in the background just in case. Of course, you can add people to that safety net unsubscribe list. You can remove people from it as well. So it's not locked in any way. You can still get to it, but it is a good little system in the background there. The other good thing is anyone on that unsubscribe list, the master one, doesn't count towards your contacts. So you're not paying for them to sit there, which is a good thing. We want people to use the unsubscribe system so that you don't upset your clients and customers and whatnot. So it's a good little list to have. In case you're wondering, where do I find it? Under the contact section on the left-hand side, this is normally where you'd see all your contacts on your list, all the data and things that you've got there. But along the top, there's an unsubscribers tab. And that's where you can see anyone who has previously unsubscribed at some point ever since you started using the system. Even if, as I said, you've deleted everyone, cleaned it all out, cleaned out your main lists, I should say, there will still always be anyone who has unsubscribed in the past will still be there. So it's a good little system. Another question we often get is, can I be notified whenever someone unsubscribes? Yes, you can actually do this. And this is set up on a per list basis. So let's have a look here at lists and forms again. And let's say I would like to receive notifications when people unsubscribe from my customers list, but nothing else, just this main one I want to look at. So we can double click onto that one there. And normally this is where you have all your forms for subscribing. And by the way, there's the unsubscribe form, which you can customize the look of. But what we want to do is set up notifications. And that's done in the details tab over here, or details button. And here you can pop in your information. So what you would do is when a contact unsubscribes, get the platform to send a message to, and then just pop your email address in there. And you'll receive an email every time someone unsubscribes. Similarly, you can do the same for subscribing as well. And if you need to notify more than just yourself or one person, you can put multiples in there as well. So again, good little tool there to just sort of stay on top of what's happening within the system, people coming and going. You can configure that notification there if you need to as well. Another question we also get is, can I actually manually unsubscribe someone or resubscribe someone? So say someone has called you because they weren't sure, maybe they're not the best with technology perhaps, or they didn't see the link at the bottom of the email there, and they're not they couldn't work out how to unsubscribe themselves, and they've rung you or just sort of contacted you through Facebook or something and say, look, can you please take me off your list? Or similarly, I accidentally unsubscribed, can you please put me back on again? Yes, you can manually adjust this setting. So we just go into the contact screen here, click on the left, you can tick on the contacts you want to subscribe or unsubscribe. And then from the actions the actions drop down here, you can unsubscribe someone, or if they are unsubscribed, you can resubscribe them from here. Now, if the customer's called and given you their email address, and you can't sort of see it here, or you've got tens of thousands of contacts, you can, of course, always do a search here, or, of course, more advanced search over here to find them. Then, once you've found them, tick them on and use the relevant option here to unsubscribe or resubscribe them. So, yeah, you always still have control. Another one is what happens if a contact resubscribes to a list that they have previously unsubscribed from? So let's just say our example there from before, Bob, he goes in and decides to unsubscribe from our list by clicking the link at the bottom of the email. And that might be our main customers list that he's unsubscribed from. Then a few months pass, and he decides, oh, look, I really like these special offers I was getting from the company. They go back to your website and fill in the subscribe form to rejoin your list. What happens? Well, they'll be added into your list as a new contact. So that's the first thing that happens. Secondly, if the original unsubscribed version of Bob Smith is still there when he resubscribes, there'll now be two instances of the contact, just the way the system works. So often what we do tell people is, after maybe every once a month or so, every couple of months, go into the system and actually delete unsubscribed contacts if you want to, because, well, you're paying for them. Remember, our product is priced based on how many contacts you have. So if you've got 50 unsubscribers in there, just go and do a search for them. Here you can do a search for subscribed equals false. In other words, they are unsubscribed. Find them and then delete them if you want to. Remember, even if you're removing them from here, they'll still always be on your safety net. So you won't email them again accidentally, even if you delete them. So you're okay deleting them. That's a good thing, and it's fine to do. And you might find that in doing so, your pricing bracket drops down. So you can save a little bit of money there potentially as well. But yes, certainly that's what will happen. You'll get another version of the new contact that has resubscribed. Does the system automatically delete unsubscribed contacts? No, we don't remove any of the contacts. They're your contacts. So there's nothing in the platform that automatically removes contacts. Even bounced ones, we don't delete. Unsubscribed ones, we don't delete. There's nothing in our automation that would delete a contact. They will just always stay there until you delete them. And the reason being is that you don't lose any history for that contact then, or any saved data. As you know, a lot of people, or as you may know, a lot of people use our system as a bit of a mini CRM. They add notes into contacts of when they may have called them, or just sort of other information that you might store against your contacts, lead scores, all kinds of things that you might store. And if we were to automatically delete contacts for you when they unsubscribe, you would lose that history and save data that you might need. phone numbers, all kinds of things you might have stored. So no, we don't delete contacts that have unsubscribed. But of course, you can definitely do so, as I showed you before. Now, if I delete an unsubscribed contact, as I've been saying that you can do, will they come back in a future import? So if I've got another spreadsheet, maybe I do a big import every couple of months from my other system to keep them in sync, and I do the big import, will they come back again? Well, no, they won't come back if you're importing into the list that they originally unsubscribed from. So you won't get them coming back in there, which is good. However, as I said in that little import dialog over here in the settings, you can adjust a setting to bring them back in if they've unsubscribed from somewhere else, like another list, but you do want to bring them into this list. Again, you can use this setting to adjust the way that behavior is handled. And of course, as mentioned there, by default, they won't go back into the list that they originally unsubscribed from, but you can choose to bring them back into any other list that you have. So that's some of the key and very important and commonly asked questions that we get relating to unsubscribes. But now let's quickly look at some tips as to how to reduce unsubscribes. Well, one of the best examples that we're finding is all in relation to personalization. If an email is personalized to the person that's receiving it, they're more likely to be interested in it, to read it, to click through and engage. And there's quite a few ways we can personalize the email message. The main ones being the subject, the preview text, and the content as well. So when we're working on an email message, I'll just go into this one here and edit this first one. The message itself can be customized with the person's first name, of course, as we've done there with the wildcard field. This is the wildcard here. You can choose any of the fields that you store about your contacts and bring that information into the email. First name being a good example there. So that's something we definitely recommend doing if you've got that data. Use it somewhere in your email. In the introduction here, we've popped it in there. Also, we've included in the subject as well, hey, first name. And if you want to, the preview text as well, which is the text that appears under the subject line in most email clients, the extra 2 lines or so of text. You can personalize that as well, as I've done here. By the way, wildcards can be inserted into the subject using the little plus button down the end. And again, just like before, choose the field you want to insert from the list. So again, that will make an email, or that will make it less likely for someone to unsubscribe from an email because it's more personalized to their taste, their interest, that kind of thing. Another great thing that you can do is if you know a little bit more about your contacts, why not use that to make the email more dynamic? Again, this will make the email very personalized, almost hyper-personalized to that person's interests. I've got a good example here where I have a dietary field on my spreadsheet or in my list in Vision 6, and I know whether people are gluten-free, vegetarian, and so on. Why don't I use this to my advantage? So here on this first article, just got some donuts there, information about our new range, but we can add conditions to this block that I've clicked on. And I've got a condition there that says, if the contact's dietary is gluten-free, then they will see a different version of the article to everyone else. Again, very personalized, because if you're gluten-free, you're going to see content just for you. And particularly so that this is the lead article in our newsletter. So again, very personalized to my interests. I'm more likely to purchase something from this bakery. If this was all stuff that I couldn't eat as a gluten-free person, I'd probably go to the end of the email and press unsubscribe because, this is all stuff that unfortunately might be very nice, but may not be of interest to me. So, that might make someone unsubscribe. So you can use that to personalize the email message. A/B testing your subject lines is another very good one, an important one. This ensures that the most popular version of your subject and is the one that goes out to the bulk of your contact lists. And that's on the sending screen here. We go into the send function. And here you can A/B test your subject line. So essentially it lets you try 2 different subjects. And what Vision 6 does is it automatically tests it on a small set of your audience that you're sending this email to. 10% of your contacts that you choose will get the email with subject line A. Another 10% of your contacts from the list that you choose will get the email, but with subject line B, whatever you put in here. And then Vision 6 waits 4 hours and has a look which one gets the better open rate. It must be better if it got opened more. Then that winning version of the subject line is what goes out to everyone else on your list 4 hours later. Fantastic little tool, very underutilized. I don't see many people use this, so definitely uses it. It'll make sure that the best performing version of your email is the one that goes out to the most people. Email preferences is another good function. I won't go into too much detail on this one, but we do have another Powersession recording available on our YouTube channel, as well as a help article on this function. Essentially, it allows your contacts to opt in and out of certain types of emails. So they could go in and say, yes, I want your event stuff, but I don't want your sales stuff. And again, that's better than having them unsubscribe from the system completely. They're just lessening the types of emails that they receive from you. And as you may have seen from my example over on the unsubscribe form here, if you're using the preferences form, you can put a little link to it there as well to say, hey, before you go, rather than unsubscribing, did you know you can just adjust your preferences instead and lessen the amount of emails you receive from us. And of course, you can put a preferences link at the bottom of all your emails as well, next to the unsubscribe link. So a great little feature there. It's always important too to check your reports. Have a look and see if people are actually engaging with your content. Are they reading your newsletter? Are they clicking through? Are there certain topics of interest to people? This can be found in the reporting section on the left-hand side. Then open up the email you wish to view the report for. And you can see clicks and other statistics here, but the main one that I would use for this kind of thing is the visual heat map or click map. And this is great if you've got lots of different articles in a newsletter style email that link off to different places, but you can see the size of the spots here showing us the more people clicked on something, the larger the spot. And this is again good to work out what topics are of interest to your readers. You can go, well, everyone clicked on this thing here, which was for a recipe for something sweet. Not many people clicked on this, which was a recipe for something savory. Maybe in future, we'll put all the sweet stuff first, or we'll just have sweet things in our email, for example. So you can use that to engage the interest of, or sort of work out what people are clicking on, essentially, where the clicks and engagement comes from. A couple of other quick tips to round it out there. You can use images to break up long blocks of content. That keeps people engaged and interested. Images do sell an email generally, so definitely worthwhile doing. And if you weren't aware, we have a new stock photo, well, not new anymore, but we have a stock photo integration in our platform as well. So if I wanted to change that image, we can come into stock images here, search for something like food, and this is a library of 3 million or so stock photos that you can use for free in all your emails to keep them interesting and enticing. So I could just pop that one straight in there, and now we have a nice looking image in our email. So fantastic resource worth using as well to make it interesting. Follow best practice guidelines is a good one as well. If you have, say, vision impaired users engaging with your email, have you checked the best practices guide to make sure your email is even viewable and usable by someone who is vision impaired? There are certain things you need to do, and they're quick things that don't take much time, to make your email work better for those people that use screen reader software, which is generally vision impaired contacts. So if you're not following these sort of guidelines, there's immediately a percentage of your audience that's not able to use or read your email in any way. So you've lost them, and they might unsubscribe as a result of that. So if you wanted to know a little bit more about that, again, just in our support center, which is support.vision6.com.au, type in email design best practice, and you'll get our handy little article here. This will be linked in the recording as well. But there's heaps of content here on different areas, including one for designing for people with vision impairments, and some good accessibility tips there as well. So definitely have a look at that one, very interesting. And finally, you can also allow your contacts to take a break as well. We've got a little example in our how-to guide, or in the support center rather, that lets you build a little system using our automations to let contacts take a break from emails from you for 30, 60, or 90 days. And you can put that on the unsubscribe form or one of your profile forms as well. So they can just opt out for a few months, and then automatically they'll be resubscribed, or rather they'll still receive emails from you at the end of that period. So lots of different options there to consider. You might not use all of these, but you might find that just doing a couple of things, like even just A/B testing and personalizing, generally just doing those two things, you'll get a better open rate and click-through rate as well. And they're very easy and quick to do. Now, if you're keen to learn more about this whole unsubscribe process and all the little intricacies relating to the way it works and FAQs, and how do I set up things like unsubscribe feedback so I can, be informed of why people are unsubscribing, you can ask them to fill in a quick form. Hey, thanks for, well, not thanks for leaving, but sorry to see you go. Please let us know why. Do we send you too many emails? Are they irrelevant? That kind of thing. So you can set up feedback as well. All of that you'll find at this link here. Again, I'll send this through in the recording emails for those watching the live session, and that will take you here to this article. And this covers lots of information, great tips and tricks, as well as covering off some of the FAQs we covered in today's session as well. So great little resource there as well for you. My name's Andy. Thanks for joining in today's session, and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you.